Today I'd like to share some reflections from our recent China trip. We went back toward the end of July and spent about a month there. We've been back for about a month and a half now, but I never got a chance to record anything. What I'm about to share are the raw thoughts I captured on my way back, and I have to say, time really does wash things down. I don't feel as strongly now as I did when I first jotted these notes, but those were very visceral feelings at that time, and after 6 weeks, they've started to fade and get filed away in my mind, waiting to be reactivated at some point. But nonetheless, these are the thoughts after my China trip. First off, every time I came back from China, something shifted inside me. On the flight home, I was still buzzing, my phone full of family pictures, memories of dinners and gatherings, the rush of crowded streets and late night food delivery that arrives faster than you can get ready for. But within a week of landing back in Minnesota, a quiet sadness set in. It was not dramatic, it was a very subtle feeling. It was a slow blue mood that crept in when life returned to its familiar calm. I know I'm not alone. Many first-gen immigrants, they would feel it after visiting home as well. This time though, it hit a little bit differently. We spent about a month, like I said. We made a stop in Japan in between those weeks, and after returning, I found myself reflecting more deeply this time. It wasn't just post-trip blues. It felt like an audit of my life I built here, the choices I've made as first-generation immigrant, the distance from family, the trade-offs I live with quietly every day. I came back asking myself questions I don't always ask myself. What did I gain by moving so far away? What have I lost? And how do I and my wife, how do we help our kids feel connected while building their future here? As amazing as the trip was, it sharpened the contrast between our Asian trip and the quiet suburban life we've returned to here in Minnesota. We came back to a slower, more predictable rhythm, quieter streets, less crazy schools, familiar routines. On paper, that's everything we wanted, right? But after weeks surrounded by families, bustling cities, and cultures that feel alive at every corner, this silence that we're experiencing right now almost felt very weird. Another thing that struck me this time was our friendship with friends in China. We reconnected with longtime friends, people we barely messaged while living here in the United States. We're all busy with work and parenting and living in different time zones. Yet the second we met, it was as if we've never left. Conversations flowed effortlessly, familiar jokes resurfaced, memories felt alive right away. It reminded me how rare and precious those old bonds are and how living abroad quietly erodes them. Not because we stop caring about them, but because our daily life gets in the way. And coming back, I realized how much I miss that easy, deep connection, the kind that doesn't need explanation or small talk to warm up to. Being first gen means living between two worlds and never fully fit in. In China, I'm not the same person who left 18 years ago. My worldview has evolved significantly. My kids barely speak the language, of course, so there's a language barrier there for sure. In America, I'm not fully at home either. There's always an invisible line that reminds me I wasn't born here, I'm an immigrant. That in-between identity can be beautiful sometimes. It gives me perspective, resilience, adaptability, but it also carries guilt and longing, especially when family is far away. It also carries a financial weight that's hard to explain to people who've lived here for generations. Everything we have, we built from scratch. No safety net, no family house to move into, no inherited retirement fund quietly waiting in the background. Meanwhile, many American friends, they're hardworking, successful, folks still have a base. Parents who can help them with a down payment, a cabin up north that's been in the family for decades, furniture or cars getting passed down, college savings started long before they were born. It's really a myth that everyone here is fully on their own once they turn 18. Many of them quietly benefit from generational stability, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's also a reminder that as a first-gen immigrants, we're often building an entire life from zero. It can feel like running a marathon while carrying extra weight. That guilt and weight hit especially hard recently when my dad had to go to the emergency room. He's okay now, but that text message, that phone call was really a gut punch. My wife and I were thousands of miles away, building our careers and raising our kids while our parents were aging without us. Many immigrants know this feeling very well, right? The helplessness of watching loved ones get older through a screen. We left home to build a better life, but sometimes it feels like the cost was missing the moments that matter the most. My kids, of course, see all of this differently. For them, China is a vacation, fun food, cousins to hang out with, and also a place where they can't fully communicate and blend in. The language barrier makes them shy. They would float through gatherings politely, but feeling detached. They don't feel the same deep pull as my wife and I do. And part of me doesn't want to burden them with my nostalgia, right? We want them to know their heritage, speak the language, understand where they come from, but I also don't want them to feel the split the way I sometimes do. Parenting between cultures means, in my opinion, balancing connection with freedom, letting them define their identity while still giving them their roots. And then there's the question of lifestyle. China dazzles with convenience, instant delivery, seamless digital payments, endless services, so much consumption. Back to the US, things feel slower and sometimes less efficient, but my question is faster or fancier always better? Right? Life here gives us space to breathe, think, and raise our kids in a calmer rhythm. It's not always flashy, but maybe that simplicity is kind of wealth too. Each return trip forces me to examine what I actually value: speed or peace, excitement or stability, community or privacy. I don't have neat answers to all these questions, but I've learned a few ways to cope with this in-between life. Staying connected to families, weekly calls, group chats help bridge the distance. Building community with other immigrants make the loneliness feel less sharp, right? Pick up a new habit or two. Recently I picked up tennis and I've been crazy about it. Reaching out to old friends, even if it's just a message now and then, keeps those bonds alive so they don't vanish with time zone differences. Planning regular visits back to China or trips with those very close friends around the world also let us explore the world at our own pace and keep our thread strong. And most of all, I've learned to talk with my kids about heritage without turning into a lecture, making it part of everyday life instead of a duty. Maybe the goal isn't to choose one home. Maybe it's to build a life that honors both, a life that lets me root deeply here while still keeping the threads to where I began. It's not always easy. Some days it feels very heavy. Some days it feels like a gift. But telling the story out loud to friends, to you through a podcast like this reminds me that I'm not alone. Millions of us are navigating the same push and pull every day. So if you're a first-gen immigrant and you felt this mix of pride, guilt, and longing, I'd love to know how you cope with it. And do you build tradition with your kids? Do you visit your home country often? Have you found ways to keep friendships alive across the oceans? We may never stop feeling the tug of two worlds, but maybe sharing these stories will make the space between them a little smaller. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.